Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee, and on today's video, we're looking at the Mooer GE200. This is an effects unit, so it has lots of different things in it with like overdrive, EQing, noise reducer, reverb, delay, lots and lots of fancy things. But the one thing that I'm really keen for to try this out, which is the reason why I bought it a while ago, is to use live. So it has two different outputs. One output goes straight into your amp, so you can hear yourself on stage while you perform. And instead of miking up your speakers on stage so the audience can hear you through the big front of house speakers, this has an output that goes straight into the mixing console. And it has a cab as in speaker cabinet, simulator on here. So it sounds like it's coming straight from a mic'd cabinet. But because it's done in a studio, in a controlled environment, in a soundproof room, and put through other fancy devices, the capture is, or should be, extremely high quality. So the theory is that on stage I can hear myself through here, but front of house where the audience is, they'll hear the best possible results out of my guitar playing via this unit and get the cleanest signal. And my cat's just trying to get my attention. That's all right. I'll take a quick picture so I can show everyone my little cat, because she loves being in the videos, but yeah, she's actually physically not on screen, but she's always next to me, young Piper. So what we're going to do with this is I'm going to mic up my cab with my Orange Terror. We're going to record and capture that. And I'm going to go this straight to my mixing console and capture that directly as well. Then I'll put it in a mix all together with a band, with bass and drums, and see how it sounds. And then we'll also listen to them isolated to hear the difference. And in theory, this directly should sound a lot better because it was captured in in a much more controlled environment, designed for capturing just the cab characteristics and the microphone characteristics, for lack of a better term. So let's go adventuring. Let's give it a shot. Let's connect it all up. Let's do it. I've already mic'd up the speakers in the other room, so let's get to it and see what happens and see what results we get. All right, everything is now set up to trial and give a shot. So the cabinet in the other room's all mic'd up. I have my GE200 over here set up. That's plugged into everything. It's plugged into my Orange Dark Terror, which goes into the other room with the speakers. I've got it plugged straight into my mixing console, and I've also got it plugged via the USB into the computer, which I'll show you right now. So I've got it plugged in, and here is the interface here that they use for it. Now you can do it on the actual unit as well, but I find it easier to load up things here. So for example, let's see if we can, what do we got happening here? Let me turn off that one, don't want to hear that for now. Okay, bring it back up. All right, so now I'm just listening to the direct from the actual device going into the computer. So some preset here called Crunchy. It's crunchy. All right, this is embarrassing. Got to figure out how to go through all the things. Here we go. I've got like a phaser. So as I was saying before, this unit has a lot of really cool different stuff to it. Yeah, it's a fancy little thing. All right, so how this works is, now I've spoken in my other videos about chains. So they've got a chain visual representation here where you've got different effects you can put on, overdrives, the amp, the cabinet, noise gates, and reverb, and all of the different fancy stuff to do things. But one thing I want to look at is this, the cab. So I have uploaded my own cabinet simulation, or impulse response it's called Brutal 5. It's called Brutal 5 off the Aeris website, which I'll link in the description below. It was called Brutal, and I'm like, that's fitting. So what have I set up here? I have an overdrive, which is just a boost, which I like. It's got a little bit of gain there. Amp, got a little bit of overdrive running through the amp simulation. I've got a noise gate on there, which really helps clean up the sound. So while I'm not playing, there's no hiss, which is nice. Then I've got the cab, the Brutal 5. I have no idea what that's modeled on, so I don't know if that's an amazing speakers or amazing microphone or whatever. It's Brutal, and I'm happy with that. And I've got an EQ here, which looks like I've just boosted a shitload of the mids. That's okay, cool. That's what it is, and this is a sound that we get from this. So with the 7-string, I like to keep the low frequencies on the lower scale, because if I boost them up, it just gets a bit muddy. And then we fall into the trap of, makes a funny noise whenever I do that. That's disturbing. It's not really disturbing, I just wasn't expecting it. So that's why I tend to dial down the lows whenever I'm playing on a 7-string, so you can hear the defined note of the lower register, and they're not getting lost in just muddy stuff. So yeah, I mean, God, there's heaps of different presets than that, but for what we're working on just today, we're just going to try this Brutal thing. And I kept everything pretty much to a minimum. Like, there are heaps of different effects you can have, wahs and different compressions and whatnot, and I'm just staying away from it. Let's just keep it simple and do what we want for a little trial thing. Okay, so before we move on to actually jamming and playing the song, because we're not far off that already. Why is this working? Come on. Okay. What I want to show you is the difference between what I've got running through the amp compared to what I've got running through the direct. So this is a direct. And if we now click here and here, this is the amp, which is my Orange Terror running through the cabinet. So far what I can tell is the amp is a little bit more bite to it. And it's got a little bit more grit, which is good, because that means when I balance them out for the actual, when I record the song, which is going to be in a moment, I can really utilize that and kind of mix them both together to get a really nice tone. So I don't know what else to really talk about this. Well, I'll just go through a quick run through, because I don't know if I did it before. So here I have the USB going into the computer. Here is the output going into, where are you going to? The amp. So that's going into my Orange Dark Terror. Here is the one going directly into my studio. Here is the guitar input. So there is lots going on, all signals being spread out everywhere, and they're all going to come together to make a beautiful, beautiful tune, in theory. I don't think there's anything else I really need to talk about with the setup. That is about it. I'm running the Dark Terror pretty dry. I could muck around a little bit more with the EQ if I wanted to, but I think that's fine with what we've got at the moment. Because I really want it to shine what the GE200 has to offer. So in saying that, let me take a little bit of time out, write a song, record it, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about it afterwards. All right, I'll see you on the other side. I think that was the least amount of playing I ever did for a setup. Time for my final thoughts. Well, firstly, I will confess that this had the most behind the scenes mucking around that I've done out of all my videos so far when it comes to setting up and checking to make sure everything is okay. Because I didn't want to do a video where I potentially plugged it all in and there was no sound and I had to chase to see where it was all being plugged into, or if something was programmed wrong in this unit or whatever the scenario might be, and it would have been just you watching me for half an hour figuring out what the hell is going on. So to avoid all that, I checked all the lines in that first and set it up to make sure that all I have to do is show you the two comparisons. But also in saying that, with the Mooer GE200, the sound I actually came up with didn't take long at all. I normally like to dial in my tones on video to show the different sounds and all that, but there was so little I had to do with this. I added, because you do the chain all internally in here, I just added the boost pedal with the amp, with the, what else did I have? The cabinet, a noise reducer and an EQ. I barely touched the settings on them. I think the EQ I pushed up the mids a bit, and the noise suppressor, I think it's called, I did nothing to it, just turned it on and it did amazingly. And that was it, really. And then I got a really cool sound out of it. And once I added in that brutal guitar simulator, or not guitar simulator, cabinet simulator, or IR, impulse response, into it, it just sounded really good straight off the bat. Then when I plugged it into my orange Terror here, bypassing the option to have all those cabinet settings on, it sounded good straight off the bat. I didn't have to do anything. It was a pleasant surprise. All I did is I rolled off a bit of gain from here, because there was plenty coming from the unit here. Just altered the volume a little bit. I didn't even change the shape. I mean, I could have mucked around for a while going backwards and forwards, but it just really works straight off the bat. And when I actually captured it, I didn't do much at all. I kept the levels pretty even, just to get a nice comparison, like overall sound of it all. I could have mucked around, if I was to invest a little bit more time into it and adventure into it, if I had those exact settings. The GE200 had a lot more like lower rich dynamics to its tone, and the Dark Terror had more of a like a blade cut through type of tone to it, which is awesome. So if I was to use those to do a little bit more time investing in the engineering side of it, I'd try blend those more to get more of a rich tone and use that to have that cut through type of effect. So I pretty much treat them as two different type of microphones as I blend them. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I highly recommend you check out my double mic technique, where I talk about the two different mics, how you get the different characteristics and why you blend them, how you do, and how I like to approach it. Because that is pretty much what I did with these and how I was going to do it. It's fascinating putting them together and seeing how they really worked. I was thoroughly surprised with it. And hopefully once you heard the isolated versions, you could see what I was talking about, how having the direct input with the GE30 was just a lot more richer, and that was a lot more cut through. And you put them together and it really worked well. I don't know what else to say about it. It handled the 7-string really well in the G tuning. There was nothing I needed to cater for then. Sometimes I need to really roll back the low end in the EQ, but this one I didn't. It was just set on 0, which is the equivalent of 12 o'clock if you're using like an amp setting or a mixer setting. It's just a pleasure, really. Everything I thought that was going to take a long time, I breezed through it. It just kind of organically just really worked out well. And all the other things that did take up a lot of time, I was like, wow, I predicted this was going to be a lot quicker. But you just don't know sometimes when you're setting up. Overall, lovely experiment. I wanted to do this video for a long time to really put this to the test to see how they do it, since my city is currently in lockdown at the moment, so there is no bands playing live, and there's no chance that I could actually go and trial this live on stage, which I definitely want to do. Not just play live, but also put my new toys to the test. Soon, hopefully soon. But like all my videos, making it is 50% of my goal. The other 50% is your opinion. What did you think? Did you prefer one sound over the other, using this unit to help build the characteristics of an amp and a cab, analog setup, so to speak? Or do you prefer using it as either for desktop recording or using it for straight into the mixing console and getting that sound and that effect out of it? Or were you happy with the blend with both of them? Was there something I was missing? Do you think I should have added something more to the chain? Was there something that you thought, how the hell did you overlook that? Or would you think it would sound better if it was in a different tuning? Because I'm happy to do this all again if you want to hear it in different tuning. That's no problem at all. Yeah, definitely tell us your thoughts. Your thoughts and your ideas, really. And let's keep this conversation going. This was an absolute blast to put together and to play through, even though I think I spent the least amount of time doodling on the guitar compared to all my other videos, which I'll know more once I edit and finish this, but I believe this was the least amount of time, which is rare for me. Normally I get carried away doing that, testing tones and just playing. So let me know your thoughts. And with that said, time for the sign off. Once again, whether this video was in the foreground or the background, I thoroughly enjoy your company, and I appreciate you taking the time out for watching these videos, for whatever inspiration you have to watch these. Thank you very much. If you got time to leave a comment, please do, or click the like button and subscribe. Share it around, and hopefully we can get this channel growing a bit. So until next time, please stay safe.